Video 6, the railings. We'll also include the corner post that holds the roof system up, and we'll look at the stairs as well. As you see, there's two views when you look at the veranda and the railing. You see the front view with the opening here with the steps, and the side view. So this, you can see the railing coming up. This is not necessary here on the right hand side, but it is a little extra credit points if you want to include that as you're walking up the stairs. A railing is very important for safety reasons, especially if this is up a half a meter above the ground. You don't want people stumbling and falling off, so it's important. Alright, the parts of a railing are simple. It is the top rail here, and notice you got the balusters. Now this could be a solid, but we'll show you how to do it, but also consider on putting balusters as more complex functions. Okay, let's begin. This is where we left off last time, and as we showed you before, the railing is not the same thickness as the wall. So you want to delete this line, use your eraser, and you can just erase that as is. Alright, secondly, we'll want to use the post. Let's start with this corner post here, and let's make that about the same size as the wall, which is 0.25, comma, 0.25. I hope by now you should be very familiar with putting dimensions in and using your tape measure. Alright, the thickness or the width of the actual railing, we will put 0.15. Let's keep it a little less than that, and then we'll lay out our lines, grab it, and let's make that 0.15. Alright, from there we can just literally make a rectangle. Now next, what we want to do before we do the rectangle there, let's make sure we got our opening for our stairs here. Notice this gap right here. There's a little bit of a railing there coming up, as you can see over here in this part there, and also right here above that. That's half a meter, 0.5 of a meter, and then we have our stairs right there if you look at above, and then which is a meter, and then the rest is the railing. So let's just lay that out so we'll have that done in advance. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we can make a rectangle of the whole thing, and grab that down here and make that rectangle. And let's just go ahead and do this one. It's pretty much closed. Alright, so let's get our measuring tool. So we're going to go from this little point here, we'll bring it out 0.5. Let's give it a little so we can see our, I like my to be able to see that let's escape there. I'm always one to like to see that guideline, but we can't see it right now. Try it again. If you have problems in detail work, it's always best to enlarge it and zoom it in. Then you can get the more details on that. Got to remind myself as well. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. I always like that line there because it helps me know where to draw my lines. Okay, and then we'll have the next line, which should be a meter. Let's try it again. If it doesn't work, try again. 1. Alright, so we know that our actual opening to come onto the veranda is right there. So I'll just draw that there, and I'll draw that there. And therefore we can just bring the rest up. And then what we'll do is the stair layout, we know from that point on we can even draw lines down, because this is where we're going to have our actual steps. We can do that. Let's move that over a little bit so I can see the whole thing. And go right straight down. That's locked into place, so we'll make our stairs there. Alright, let's go finish our railing now. We got our overall view there. Let's now make it a little smaller. What I like to do first is I want to raise up this corner post, extrude it. We can get rid of these guidelines now. We need just to make sure there's not too much cluttered. take our push-pull tool, raise it up, and we want to make that the same size as our wall height, which is 2.5. A lot of these dimensions I hope you get very familiar with. And the wall height, or the railing height, let's make it 1 meter high. And we'll bring that up 1 meter. And we'll bring this up 1 meter. And basically that is the overall simplicity of the railing. Now, if you want to be more complex for a higher grade, that means excellent skills, your complexity is more, you're going to add something to that. If you give me that drawing there, it's good for a 4 or possibly a 5 looking at the overall, but you really want to get some good complexity in there. We'll add to this, and if you really want to see a nice complex railing, which I will try to show you in a minute here. Okay, I'm going to lay this out, and now what we'll do is, let's get a offset tool and just kind of make that a little more railing look like, and let's do a little offset. Let's make that 0.1, and then if you wanted to do something like this, you could set that, oops, let's escape out of that, Control Z, and let's offset that there, 0.05, and let's see how that looks. So you've got a little bit of an offset there, and you could do that for each one of the railings as well. As you can see, if you want to see a complex, I can bring in and show you what a little more detailed complex railing is looking something like this. I made a component of this earlier, and you can make it real fancy, and you could put that in place instead of that simple one. But that takes extra time. That's going to take a little extra research and a lot of extra effort. So we'll let you study and you look up the YouTubes and figure that out to determine your complexity and your time factor. Alright, next we'll look at the stairs, the steps. And so really we're going to make 3 steps instead of 2. And basically the steps should be between 150 and 170 if I divide that evenly by 3. So I can take my tape measure if you want, and you can just bring that up to 0.17, and then bring the next one up to 0.17, and you're pretty close right there. It doesn't divide evenly. Let's see if I can grab a hold of that. There we go. It's in place now. And then you can make a little rectangle there. Drag it out. I think you seen this on another video. Alright, and then you can extrude that outwards. Now this is called the rise of the steps. It's just the step up. Alright, you don't want it too high. You want to make them even steps all the way up. Otherwise you kind of stub your toe or you trip over it because your mind subconsciously knows the height of steps. And then you have what is called the run. And the run means the actual step that you step down on, and usually it's a little bigger size than your actual shoe or step. And so this one we're going to make it 30 or 300 millimeters, and so what we'll put on here, we'll make it, this one is 600, and then we'll make this next one 300.3, and there you have your steps going up. That's about what is normal there. You can make it bigger, which is nice, easier, but that should be sufficient enough. And then you can design the railing more complex as you have time for, and as you can work on that. Alright, we'll go to the next video after this.